Hey, Richard.
Hey, what's going on, Angela?
I'm tired.
Are you?
Yeah.
Big weekend?
Oh my gosh. Well, I went to Santa Monica this weekend.
That's right. Yeah.
And somehow, is this me getting old? Because I'm still tired on Thursday. It's now Thursday from my weekend vacation.
It may or may not be.
This
I don't
is
know.
age.
I don't usually go 4 days, but the next day I can be pretty tired.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
it was so great.
Was it?
I spent the weekend swimming on the beach in Santa Monica. And for me, there is just nothing better than swimming in the ocean. It's
Like
it just feels
inundated
so-
in the water?
Oh yeah, all the way, diving into the waves, all the way in.
It's warm?
Totally, yes. It might be like unseasonably warm there right now. I'm not sure. Still, it was 80 degrees outside. The water is perfect.
I'm just used to
it's a
Baker
little. No one's going swimming at Baker Beach.
You know,
I mean,
it's just like you're freezing. You got to get hypothermia. and
no,
all that.
I have to get past. I think it's called Inspiration Point, like somewhere between San Luis Obispo and LA.
Yeah,
You've got
yeah.
that where the water changes.
Yeah.
Like take me past there and then I'll jump in. Oh, it was so wonderful. I loved it so much.
We should move our company down there, honestly.
Ooh, okay, let's
It'd
go.
be fun. Anyway, I do miss that, going in the ocean. Every time I go on vacation somewhere, it's like, I want to go into warm water.
Yeah, that's basically my goals in
Yeah.
life when I'm vacation.
Yeah, right?
Like, take me to some warm
For
water,
sure,
please.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Well.
yeah. Anyway, so welcome to A Place of Possibility.
I'm Angela Wright.
And I'm Richard Del Monte. We're happy to have you here with us.
What are we talking about today?
Yeah, that's a good question. We are going to discuss how most people's actions do not sync with their goals and their values.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty common.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
It's pretty common.
So are we gonna talk about Vacation Daddy?
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Are you gonna teach me how
People
to
are
get
asking,
a
what is
vacation
Vacation
daddy?
Daddy? Right? Yes, of course. Yeah, we're going to
I
get
need one
there.
of those. No.
We're going to get there. Yeah. You might. Everybody needs one.
I'll take it. Okay, but first,
Oh, breaking news.
ding, 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 ding,
Ding,
ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding. We want to give you an
Sound for
update
that,
on
sorry.
the Biden tax plan, where things are in Congress.
Things
right
are
now.
happening finally.
Things are definitely moving. It's funny how Congress, like, nothing happens, and wham, things happen
done.
really fast, right? Yeah, things are happening.
We got time. Oh, it's done.
Yep.
Okay.
So there are some big changes. The Congress and the Senate are moving, and they've got some things going on.
Yeah. We're gonna list them out for you because people want to know.
Yep,
So
yep.
okay, so the first thing is the top income tax rate is increasing from 37% to 39.6%, but this is only for people who make up more than $400,000 a year or $450,000 for couples. If you're below that, nothing's changing.
Right, nothing as expected. Right, that's what they were. That's what they were advertising. There's going to be a 3% surtax on incomes above $5 million. So that'll hurt those folks.
Yeah.
Yep.
So far, there's been no word on whether or not we're repealing that dreaded $10,000 limit on deductible state and local taxes. You probably heard this called SALT.
Yep.
And this is an interesting one because, Congress members from high tax states really want to implement this, but traditionally Democrats aren't about taking away tax loopholes. And so it's like, oh, we're trying to, now we're going to help the rich. Uh-oh. And it'll be interesting to see how that all gets figured out.
Yeah, it's causing a personality disorder in those people, I'll tell you, because they don't know which side they're on. Then the capital gains and the dividend rate for preferential income is changing. We knew that. It looked like it was going to double almost to 39.6% for certain people. It's only going up to 25% again for individuals that make more than $400,000 or couples that make more than $450,000. So that's good. Mm-hmm. The bad news is most of these are taking effect next year, we think. But this one took effect on September 14th, Monday. So it's too late. If you were going to sell something, if you do it now and this law goes through.
And that has to happen because imagine what might happen in the capital markets if suddenly there's, your cap gains rate is going up. Well, I got to sell today and you flood the market with sell order. I mean, you can't do that.
I didn't think about that. That's a really good point.
You can't do that, yeah.
So
they had to make it
the rush to sell everything on December 31st would be a really bad thing for the stock market.
Yeah, or between now and December 31st.
Brilliant observation, Angela. I didn't think about that. Good for you. Yeah.
What else? Okay, so one of our favorite tools for our high earners, the backdoor Roth IRA, is looking like it's going to bite the dust. But only for people who make more than 400. So it was really the only people using this were between 2 and 4 or 2 and up. Now it's between 2 and 400. If you're in that sweet spot, you can use it. Otherwise, I think it's going to go away.
Yeah, probably so. Estate taxes, big changes here. Ding, 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 again. We were worried that they were going to take away the stepped up basis on things like if you bought your house for $30,000 in the 1960s and you died and you own it, it's worth $2 million. Biden was going to tax all that gain. Now that they're not going to do that anymore, your heirs will be able to sell it as if they bought it for $2 million. Hallelujah! The crowd goes wild.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
And that was going to cause some really nasty and weird estate planning to have to happen. And
yep, for sure. Also, the personal exemption from income. In other words, the amount that's not going to get taxed for estate tax purposes is going to go down to about 5 million, or maybe a little bit higher. It could be higher, from 11 million. So it's it's gone down about in half. Not as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Not so bad.
The tax rate is about going to be the same, 40%, which was good. That's where it is now. So not a big change.
Around the time I first started in this business, it was 5 million. So,
was it?
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like, if you live in the Bay Area and you have a home and some assets, that's.
I don't want to date myself, but when I first started, it was 600,000.
Oh my!
I'm telling you, it was. And the rate
math on that inflation.
And the rate above that was 55%.
A really long time.
Thank you, Angela. Almost as long as how old you are. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
All right. Corporate taxes. So the corporate tax rate is currently a flat 21%. It's going on to a sliding scale. So now, if you're a corporation that's earning less than 400,000, that's like the magic number, 400.
Yep. Seems to
your tax rate's going down to 18%. If you're between 400 and 5 million, you're at 21%. And if you're over $1 million, you're at 26.5%. So it's companies that are earning more than 5 million, their tax rate is going up 5.5%.
Yeah.
That's a better way to say it.
Right. Yep. So those are the nuggets. Them's the nuggets for what we see so far that we want to share with you. Again, this is all in flux, but it's starting to kind of crystallize, and we're getting there. So
we're pretty close to what we're going to end up with.
In the fall, we're going to have this bill probably, and whether they're going to keep tweaking it until Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, agrees to it. Yeah. So whatever, we'll see where it goes, but we're watching it for you. Yeah, definitely.
It's a good way to become famous nowadays. Be the one Democrat that disagrees with everybody.
Yeah, that's true. You get a lot of what you want.
Joe Manchin was a couple weeks ago.
Right, exactly. Now they have people testing his food to make sure he doesn't get poisoned.
Jeez. I just realized we totally tricked everybody because we had this topic about values and aligning and then we talked about taxes.
Yeah, well,
we totally got you.
But let's go on with the show. Angela, take it away.
On with the show.
Yep.
So here's what we were thinking about. Every financial planning conversation we have starts with a stated goal. You're going to get sick of hearing me say, begin with the end in mind.
Yep.
Honestly, I don't know what...
She does it a lot.
I don't know what Gladwell book I got that from. But,
no, it's true.
I mean, it's totally true. How are you to go somewhere if you don't know where you're going? Come on.
Right.
And so the stated goals we hear all the time are, I want to retire at 65. I want a vacation home. I want to start a business. I want to send my kids to college. Great, reasonable goals. And then we apply your capital to get to that goal. That's our whole shtick. Right. Well, what we've been noticing recently is that a lot of people will state that their goal is to increase their net worth. They have a number, like I need to get to 4 million. And so we'll get them to 4 million. That is actually one of our clients' numbers. We get to 4 million and then they're like, still not satisfied. Miserable. What's going on? Well, we need to move the goal. We'll just increase the net worth. Obviously,
more money will solve everything.
All right. So then we apply more capital, and we make more money, and they're still miserable. And you can clearly see where I'm going with this. And the thing is, net worth for the sake of net worth doesn't bring anybody fulfillment. Well, okay, doesn't bring most of us fulfillment. Some of you might like money for money's sake. Scrooge McDuck.
Very few people are that way.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always a moving target. And the real juice in life comes from getting fulfillment, like from connecting with people that we love or serving our community. Like that's our families, right? Like that's the important stuff. But yet we're out here like more money. And if we apply our money to something that's, doesn't turn a profit, it's like wasteful all of a sudden. It almost seems to be like the American motto should be, if it's not profitable, it's not worth it. It's just like we don't do anything that's
hamster wheel the whole time. Yeah, just not going anywhere. Just running, and then our life ends and it's over. Yep.
Pretty much.
Yep. Mick Jagger. Let's sing that song. I can't get no.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. So, we've seen a lot of people, in our business, we see a lot of people who have these really cherished values about connectedness with their family members, people they love, and yet they just work themselves to death and keep thinking, I'll do that tomorrow, next week, next year, and they just never get a chance to really enjoy their wealth with people they care about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can think of two really good examples, like right off the top of my head, of people. So I have an acquaintance that he sold 2 venture-backed businesses. And I say venture-backed to illustrate that this is like Scrooge McDuck in a swimming pool filled with money kind of money. It's a lot. He has a family, never needs to work again if he doesn't want to. And so his husband was like, hey, honey, so you're like you're going to stay home with the kids now and I'm going to go to work. And he was like, actually, I had an idea for another company. And his husband is like, what? You said when you sold this, and now he's out traveling the country right now during a pandemic, traveling around, looking for investors for this new business. And it's like a complete misalignment from what he said he wanted, which is more time with his family. And it's this like compulsive need to earn more money.
Yeah. Like, what is the point? Right.
Right.
And then we have another example we see a lot it tends to be sometimes with women more than men, but there are some men that have it, and we call it bag lady syndrome. And this is when people they cannot stop working because they're afraid if they stop, they're going to end up being a bag lady. They have no money.
Broke.
And this,
it means broke or homeless
just pushing a shopping cart, and this is a woman who actually, she worked at the phone company for 50 years. She's 75 years old. She's still working, and her pension is higher than her paycheck.
Yeah.
And she
her pension is higher than her paycheck, and she won't stop and take the pension.
Right. And she's got Social Security on top of that. So, I mean, she's got more than enough money. She'll make more money retired. She's got $1 million or something, more than that, I think, in her 401k, and she can't do it. It's not about actually how much money you have. Yeah. It's kind of an emotional issue.
It is. Right? This is not something that a financial plan can help, but it's something that comes up all the time for us. People doesn't matter how much money you have, you're miserable. The people who have too much have too much, and they're miserable about it. And the people who don't have enough are miserable about that. And everybody else is somewhere in between. Right. Some people who have enough money, who know they have enough money, then have guilt about having enough money, and they're miserable.
And they do self-destructive behaviors too.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's they have too much money.
Yes, it's incredible the way that we punish ourselves.
Yep. Speaking of which, one way that I've punished myself over the years is, it was unwittingly too, because I thought I was doing the right thing. So, for example, I thought that if I had excess money, I should be saving, right? Putting it in stocks, putting it in real estate, putting in the bank and stuff. And then I read an article and it said, what are your most cherished memories of your whole life? And I thought immediately of going camping with my father and mother in our 1962 Corvair station wagon. All the way up Highway 5, and we would go camping with a tent with some other families in Oregon on the west side of Portland in the forest there, and then the Halem River, right by Netart's Bay, and the coast right there. And it was just the most idyllic memories. I got my first .22 little gun there, and Target plinking, going to get bottles in the old bottles, and stuff on the railroad tracks. It was the most amazing experiences, fishing in the river, and so the article said, don't you think it's wise to spend your capital to provide those kinds of experiences for the people you love? And I just thought, oh my gosh.
Yikes.
That is so true. What better thing can I do with my capital than to provide memories like that my kids are never going to forget while I'm still here, not afterwards.
Yes. Yeah.
So there you go.
And I will echo, your favorite memory is my favorite memory. 30 years later, my parents were taking us in a Suburban up and down Highway 5 to Oregon. We would go to Cannon Beach. We're Haystack Rock there, and we'd visit our family in Eugene, and looking for sand dollars. Like, I have the best memories of doing this. I mean, our inside family jokes are all from these trips. Like, phenomenal stuff that we did together. And as a person growing up, these are the most important things, memories, and that I have from my folks.
So what more worthy way could you spend your capital than that? Right. That's the point of this, right?
Yeah. And I do want to point out that we're having a very first world conversation, first world problems conversation here, right? And I just want to say, if you're sitting there going, oh my God, I can barely make rent. What? You can apply what capital you do have mindfully at any level. So Richard and I just gave examples of very inexpensive family vacations. Like, we stayed with family. We didn't buy hotels. Yeah. And we all ate in, and we went to the beach, which is free. And so, you could do this at different levels. We're going to give you some other more luxurious examples as well.
Right. But just taking your kids fishing, going to a park and laying out a blanket?
I would say, so my kids are 5 and 2, and the best way that I can build cherished memories with them right now is just by my physical presence is really all they need. But I struggle with even that, right? Like I'm in go mode. I got to get the work done, and I got to get these dishes done. Otherwise, I'm on the hamster wheel.
Yep.
I just need to sit down and hang out with my kids for a little while.
Yep. It's hard though, right?
Yeah.
For all of us. Yeah.
So you've come up with some amazing ideas for your family.
Well, I realized that when I started getting serious about spending the capital on these things, I started doing an annual vacation every year for my kids. And I started when they were in their teens. Mm-hmm. Well, now they're married. We have grandkids. It's starting to get, the numbers are getting kind of big. It's getting a little pricey every time I do it.
You're not taking everyone to Disneyland anymore.
No, it's not just that, right? So we've done cruises. That's a really cost-effective way to do it because everything, it's all one price, right?
Yeah.
The food, the experiences, all that stuff.
And as the recipient of, so we've done this with the company too, and as a recipient of that, it's so wonderful to know I'm going on a trip, and if I choose to, I can spend no money.
Yep.
Everything's included.
Right. Now, people very rarely do that though. They end up spending a lot of money in the shops and everything.
Gotta have more junk to take home.
One time I remember Jeff Gurnett.
Yes.
Jeff
cut that name out.
Yeah, no. Don't cut the name out. It's fine. Jeff said we took his family on a vacation. He said, this is the most expensive free vacation I've ever had because he was buying watches and all these things in those shops.
Totally.
He had a ball. Yeah.
So did he turn into Vacation Daddy?
I think he did. Yeah, exactly. We're going to get there. Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
We'll get there.
So cruises, train trips, renting houses. I rented a house in Florida. I learned a lesson though doing that because I got this house right on the beach in Florida, beautiful. And the kids never left the house. They're adults. They're all playing cards with each other and eating.
They didn't even go to the beach?
They never went outside. They went outside. Oh yeah, that's nice for them. And they came back in.
What is wrong with you people?
And I realized I was so mad. It was like I should just be having you get a hotel next to the airport and just put them in the room and here you go.
But that's back to most productive use of capital mindset.
Yep.
By the way.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't have to pay for the house on the beach. I could have done
I enjoyed the
airport
outside.
house.
I walked around with my wife out there. Ingrid and I walked out, and it was fun. Yeah, for sure. So those are good, but more expensive ones, like going to Europe and the Caribbean and Colorado vacations, renting houses all over the place.
Colorado. So I loved our road trips to Oregon, but I think my best memory of a bucket list vacation with my family was when our father took us rafting down the Grand Canyon.
Oh man.
And he waited until my sister graduated from college, so we were really old enough to appreciate this and strong enough to do the trip. And so the beautiful part of this is his father did it with him, and there's a picture of my father and grandfather sitting on this boat together, and then now we have the picture of my sister and I and my father on the boat, and now this has become kind of a legacy thing, raft the Colorado, and I will take my children to do it someday. Yep.
And I remember you first told me about it, and I was thinking the red rocks and the rattlesnakes and all the things.
Oh, deers walking through your camp at night, and they're making you. We did it kind of luxuriously, where we weren't paddling, we were on more of a boat, and they made us dinner every night. It was phenomenal. I mean, it was like. We even had a little potty. It was perfect.
Didn't the river flood and some guy was sleeping on the sleeping bag?
Yeah, there were people they didn't know not to sleep. Never sleep close to a river, everyone, when you're camping, because sometimes they let more water or a rainstorm from up above can come through. So it was very hot at night. It stayed 100 degrees all night long. And what we would do is go dip our sheet. So you have your sleeping bag and a cot, but we also had a sheet. We would dip it in the water and then run up to our cot and lay on top of our sleeping bag and pull the wet sheet over us.
Oh, wow.
Well, these people decided to just sleep right next to the river, and it came up at night and started washing their stuff away, and you hear this whole kerfuffle happening. You're like, what's going on?
But again, those are the memories you never forget, right?
Oh, we have the best story. And my dad, sorry, Dad, if you're listening, but he wore the same shirt the entire 8 days.
Ooh.
The whole 8 days, my dad wore yes. And then we get, so when you come off of these trips, this is kind of funny. I'll just tell the whole story. So we get into the Las Vegas airport, and we're like feral, right? We've been out for 8 days in the wilderness.
Feral.
I mean, we're dirty. We're just I haven't seen it. So this was the early 2000s. So I had a cell phone, and I remember turning it on. My heart was pounding. What happened? So anyway, we get into the airport, and we rush onto an earlier flight. So they have us dispersed about the plane. And I'm thinking, I feel so sorry for whoever is sitting next to my father right now. He wore the same shirt for 8 days.
On
and then
the airplane too?
Right on, because we went into the airport. We're trying to catch an earlier flight home. And they're like, we got one, but you have to run. So we ran onto that flight, and my dad stunk the whole plane.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Dad, and all your friends.
Someone listening, I remember that guy.
If you were on Southwest Flight 242 in 2003, we're very sorry.
He had blonde hair?
Gray, mostly. Anyway, I mean, this is just like amazing. Like the trip you did to Rome with our team.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for sure. Like, just having, I think the key for that was having private guides, right? We had private guides in their own little van that they took us on.
This is something most people aren't going to pop for. Like, oh, that's too
It's not that much. I mean, if you're springing for your family going to Europe, I mean, it's the delta in cost is very small, but the experiential thing is a huge difference because you get out of the train and you're right there, or whatever you're getting to, and you got this van waiting for you with your name, the little name tag.
Good. I mean, I'll say so. I'm not the type of person who would normally do like a historical walking tour on a trip. I'd rather I'm more adventurous, and so I'll be hiking or something. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be so boring. But we get on this van, the whole crew. So imagine your whole family's on a van. You've got a PhD in history, and she's the most adorable, lively woman you've ever seen. I learned so much from her about Rome. I loved that entire day. And the memories that we have from this trip are like, so, she was speaking English, but with her accent, and it's exactly how you imagine it. So
I remember. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. So she was teaching us about Rome, and still to this day in our office, if someone goes, a Roma,
it's like a lasagna.
Immediately. And because it was built on layers. Like we know so much about Roman history, but we also have this really funny, like the morale that we bought and like the ongoing fun, so worth the money.
But if you're going to go to those places, these big capitals, Paris and Rome and like that, and Florence, you're going to go to the museums, right? You're going to go to the Louvre. You're going to go to the Vatican, these other ones, and so you got to pay to get in the places anyway, so you might as well pay just a little bit more and get a private guide that cuts through the lines and gets you in there and shows you all the things you need to see, because otherwise you're going to stand there and you're not going to know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
You don't know.
And then your family has this consistent foundation around these learning experiences, which is cool.
Right.
We all know certain things about the works of art at the Vatican.
Right. So if you're looking for something like that, Context Travel, contexttravel.com is where we did it. We did the same thing in Athens, right?
Yeah.
Our guide to the Acropolis.
Fabulous.
Was amazing. But remember how hot it was?
Oh, it was like 100. I think they closed the Acropolis
bad.
that day. It was so hot. No one could hear anything because our brains were melting.
I know. There was like one stick of a tree that was trying to hide behind it.
There's no shade.
I've never been so hot in my life.
I've never been so jealous of Chinese women who walk around with
the umbrellas. Yeah.
Brilliant.
We were trying to hide behind them too.
Yep.
So, okay.
Shorter than us.
Want to talk about Vacation Daddy?
What is a Vacation Daddy and where do I get one? Just kidding.
You're kind of on the right track, actually, what you were kidding about. So Vacation Daddy is kind of a syndrome that a lot of fathers actually have. Normally,
this is very sexist. Where are the vacation mommies?
Well, they're there.
No, but it's men.
But mothers will spend money on the kids. They do things, but the fathers are more Scrooge-ish. Like, turn these lights off. Why is the air conditioner on? Why is the door open?
That's what you mean.
You don't need that many clothes. So,
oh my God, I can hear my father saying it. There's a country song where they say every light in the house is on. I can hear my dad walking around singing that song.
Exactly. Another pair of jeans. Really need that, Angela? That kind of stuff. But then when they go on vacation, all of a sudden the wallet flies open. As soon as they get in the car and driving, let's stop and get ice cream.
Yeah.
And let's go. Oh yeah, let's go have that. Like, Dad, can we go to this restaurant? Sure, let's go do that. Oh, honey, of course. And I find myself like, oh, honey, let's go tell my wife, let's go buy this. You need to have this $500 purse. We're in some shop in Rome, a little boutique and stuff. I don't know what it is. It's like a foreign an alien has taken over my wallet, my credit card, and my being, and I just want to spend money.
That's true. One time he came back with Louis Vuitton purses for our set. I was like, you get a purse. He's Oprah over here throwing around purses.
When I brought it back, I'm like, that was me that did that? What was I thinking?
I still use that bag. This is like 8 years later. Yeah.
So, it's a real thing, and the kids love it, and they know it, and they take advantage of it because they know what's happening.
Of course,
we're going to go on vacation. You know what that means, right? Yeah.
But it's this idea that you are experiencing the kind of fulfillment that you don't get in your daily life because you're actually doing the thing that you say is most important to you.
And as the father, you want your kids to have a good experience,
and it shifts the way that you think. And I'll say even like. Yep. Vacation mommy is a thing. It's not around finances, but we're just so much more relaxed. It's like, okay, you can have that popsicle before dinner. It'll be fine. Things like that. We tend to shift who we are or how we behave a little bit. And you think it's a lot due to the fact that we're not on the hamster wheel.
Yep.
And we're actually experiencing what it feels like to be fulfilled. And some of your fear around, oh God, we're going to run out of money, I need more money, it dissipates because you're actually fulfilled.
Yeah, we'll worry about that tomorrow. We're going to have fun now, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is important that you have a mindset that's really fixed on having a good experience, right? Because the families a lot of families get together and they don't even get along. They don't like each other.
I'm sure some people are listening to this like, are you insane?
Yeah, you want me to travel with my kids or my father and mother? Oh my gosh, But it's really important to go into it and just be making sure that everybody has like an easy, free, fun mindset.
How do you do that?
Well, you just have to. Well, first of all, like the mother and father, the parents, the couple that's in charge that's writing the checks, as kind of the leaders. They should get together every morning and say, remind each other, what are we doing here? What are we on this vacation for?
Ooh, I like that.
And make sure that we keep that mindset there, because there's going to be kids that make you mad.
Well, yeah, I will say, so my ex and I never did this, and I can think of this like one camping trip where everyone was miserable the entire time. We all had a terrible time. And it was like, had we just taken a moment in the car on the way there even to have a brief conversation about, how we're approaching this trip and being mindful, checking in with each other in the morning, like, okay, we're cool, we're relaxed, it's all good. Yep. That would have changed things drastically.
Yep. And catch you like, hey, I noticed that yesterday you were getting a little irritated with little Johnny here. What was that about? You would need to talk through that, and then you can just have that conversation and just clear the air. Yeah. It's really a good thing. Yeah. We had an issue, but even in the best of circumstances, you can have situations.
Your family has even had moments.
Oh yeah, we were sitting there. Picture this: we're on the Amalfi Coast. We're dining at this alfresco lunch, just our family sitting at a table with, like rubble stones on the ground. And right like 3 feet from the table is a sheer 1,000-foot cliff. We're looking at what is it? I guess it's the Med.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the Adriatic. It's on the wrong side. And it's just the most gorgeous, beautiful thing you've ever seen. Portofino or whatever. But my daughter, who was 17 at the time, she decides she's going to get a glass of wine. And we're like, what are you doing?
They were not allowed to drink here at home.
Not here. They're underage. But in Italy, it was okay. I think 16 was the law, So she says, I'm just going to have a wine. And we were like, what are you doing? It just became it ruined the lunch, and it took us about a half a day to get back on our game. And that's the kind of thing you ruin, you lose the whole beauty of the experience because you're mad about something. Yeah. So it's really important just to keep your mindset right.
So you kind of later realized like, let the kid have a glass of wine. It's not going to kill her. Or how did you get over that?
It's just kind of like, it's not the end of the world. Now it's kind of a funny story in hindsight. Yeah. So if you think about this is probably going to be funny someday. The kid doesn't become an alcoholic, that is, but that's what you think about in the moment.
Of course, right? It's all going to heck.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Man.
So
I think a lot of families have successfully used family vacations also when they want to get a little bit more organized or, like talk to maybe the next generation about what's going to happen when mom or whoever is gone. Yeah. And so people will use them as little retreats to come together and do the business of the family as well. And that's a great way, everybody's having a good time and relax. And then we talk about our estate plan.
Yep.
It goes better. It really does.
Yep. So you can use these as opportunities to transfer leadership to the next generation.
Oh my gosh. We have so much we could say on this.
We're going to.
We'll do a whole show on family meetings for you.
But you can have the family's advisors come in, or there's the sky's the limit for what you can do with these meetings, and they are the perfect place to do it is on vacation.
Totally.
Just for a little while, not the whole vacation, but just
don't do that.
A little piece of it, carve it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so we're talking about aligning money and values, and vacations are not the only way to do this, but it's a good way. It's a great way because most people out there, my people are most important to me and being with them, and so that's why we're talking about this. There's lots of ways that you can align your values. Like, let's say you don't have a family, but you have values. Right. Like, you care about your community a great deal. And so one idea is take an occasional day off and do some, philanthropic work. Like, we'll go to your food bank or get your organization. We used to have volunteer days.
Yep.
We've kind of gone away from that. But
we have, We used to do it.
We would just close the office for one day and everybody goes out and does something good for the community. The way you feel at the end of that day is amazing.
If you give money away to people in the younger generation, like your children or grandchildren, it's really good to follow the example of this industrialist. I can't remember his name, but he was in the 1850s. big philanthropist, and he didn't have any children, but he had nieces and nephews. So he started talking to his kids, his nieces and nephews, before he gave them the money that he was going to give them annually. And he said, "What are you going to do with this money? What do you want to accomplish with it?" And the kids would write back. These are all letters writing back and forth, And then after he gave them the money, he would say, "How did it go?" And they would come back and tell him.
That's awesome.
And then he would, if they made a mistake, he would say, "Well, what are you going to do different next time?" And over time, this happened for over 20 or 30 years, and he was able to mentor them in this process. And by the end of his life, they had developed so far in their, the way they thought about money and dealt with it, that they got to use it for really important things. And he was able to leave them his entire fortune with a clean conscience. No trust, no strings attached like we do nowadays.
We even consider that today.
We do the exact opposite nowadays.
It is actually, I think it's a little silly that we base financial responsibility on age. Like I know some 65-year-olds that cannot handle their money, and it's like, it's very silly. And I really believe in the financial skills piece of that.
For sure.
But I will say, if you're considering that, don't make it didactic. Like, this isn't, what are you going to do with the money, and what did you make on it? It's the best thing that could happen, actually, is that young person fails, and that you're right there to help them understand what failed and to make a better plan for next time. Like, that's the best thing that could happen.
What would be more fulfilling next
Let
time?
them fail. Don't tell them what to do with it.
Please fail, because it's better.
Yeah.
It's way better. Yeah, for sure.
What else? Investing. So like voting or speaking with your dollars, invest in companies whose values you share. So maybe it's diversity on boards or environmentalism. It's called socially responsible or ESG investing. And it's a really super easy way to align your capital with your values. They even have mutual funds now. And if you don't want oils, you don't believe in oil companies, no oil mutual fund. Done.
Yep.
Really easy. What else?
So what if I never define my values at all?
Well.
How do I do that?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, I was like 30 by the time I started thinking about my values.
Really?
I mean, and some people, it just never occurs to you. You get up and you get on the treadmill and you just go. So I think it's really important to actually sit down and take a moment to do this. But you put a really good exercise in your book.
Yep, and it's actually going to be in the show notes here.
Yes.
So when you look at this, it'll be attached to it. There's an exercise you can go through and actually help you figure out your values, which is a good thing to do with your kids as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So Richard wrote a book. It's called Endless Inheritance.
Oh, and here it is.
It's awesome.
A little shameless plug.
If you're on the video,
this is actually available to people.
He's holding the book. Yeah.
This
you can buy it on Amazon. It has a website. Anyway,
and we have a way to give it to people that are
great ideas. If you haven't defined your values, if you have other things that you can do, like if you're a serial entrepreneur like my friend, you could actually start a company that solves a problem, right? Instead of just one for profit.
Yep.
I mean, again, if you're trying to align your values, that's not required. You could also take a look at your own spending. Right? Where do you put your capital, and does that align with your values? This is terrifying, horrifying, I'll say, for most of us. Like, are you the type of person that will buy one bottle of aspirin from Amazon? Like, I'm guilty of this, and it wasn't until the truck. Yeah, it was like a mini bottle because I didn't need the whole thing. The truck shows up, they hand me this little box, and I was like, what have I done? I could have literally walked to Walgreens and purchased this. Oh my gosh. And I call myself an environmentalist. Oh.
Mega carbon footprint.
Yeah, or like maybe you value human rights, but then you buy clothing that's made in a sweatshop. Or perhaps you value the environment, but you buy a lot of junk to go in your house. So you can think about the way that you're spending your money. There are even... I forget what it's called. There are even apps where you can check a company, either, their environmental footprint. You can check on their political donations to see if that adds up. Like I've noticed some companies where I spend money don't align with my political values. And then I got to make a choice whether I wanted to keep going to those companies or not.
Good call. Yeah.
So it's really interesting. The things that you can do. There's a lot of different ways to do it.
So
defining the values.
Yeah. Well, understanding your values and having them actually start becoming more aligned with your behavior, or vice versa, aligning your behavior to your values, is not something that can happen overnight. You can't flick a switch, right? It's a process.
No, I still accidentally order things on Amazon all the time.
Sure, yeah, right. Yeah, but you have to start the process. It's actually the devil's in the details. It's actually the daily decisions that you make that will build up to become how you live.
Yeah.
So,
I had been rejecting buying those silicone stasher, like reusable baggies for like sandwich baggies. They're too expensive. I can't afford that right now. This is ridiculously expensive. And then I realized I'm not aligning my capital with I keep buying plastic baggies that I throw in the garbage when I could just buy this one time, spend the $50 and buy the 5 baggies that are reusable.
Oh, wow.
And so
you wash them in the dishwasher?
Probably. They're silicone, yeah. So now I own the silicone baggies. But it's like I've been thinking about this for years. We've been doing this work. And even I sometimes struggle with aligning my actions with my values.
Interesting. I think we all struggle with that.
Sure.
So what happens if you're in a place where you've recognized you've got an area where your behavior is not aligned with your values, and you worked on trying to stop it, but you can't do it?
Yeah, this is really real. We know people. Right? Yeah, I mean, this is a real thing. So financial therapy is a thing. It's a budding new part of mental health.
Yep.
I know some it's a licensed financial therapist, so it's different than a MFT, and they're doing phenomenal work with people around, their interactions with money and their mental health. And so if you're struggling, we know some. We hope to do a whole episode on this.
We're going to have them on, right?
We'll have them on.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
Amazing. You'll love it.
Yeah. Okay, so questions.
I'm in charge.
Okay, sorry.
This is what happens when you put 2 alphas on a podcast.
I know, right? Yeah.
Okay, questions. Let's see. What do we have here? So this is age too. Like I need glasses to see the computer. I can't see it.
We'll bring it closer next time.
Travel insurance. Okay, should I buy travel insurance? Really good question. I like that. Yeah. It depends. Lawyer answer.
That's a good answer. There's many levels of this. If it's just for the small things like insuring your luggage, no.
No, yeah.
Right? Because usually your credit card covers that.
Yes, and in fact, American Express, not a plug for the company, but they do cover a lot of stuff like that. If you like, the airline loses your luggage up to $1,000 or $1,500, American Express will cover you.
Yeah, and they do cover stuff like if you buy things and they break, that they cover that too, right?
Yes, in fact, I bought a jacket, like it's Bobak's jacket. It's this very fancy travel jacket that has like a blow up neck pillow and it's all built. Everything you need is built into the jacket.
Really?
Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing. I did the Kickstarter for it. I finally got the thing. Anyway, I take it on its maiden voyage to Costa Rica and I leave it in the Costa Rican security bucket.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I don't realize it until I'm getting on the plane. Well, it's obviously gone. And so American Express refunded me for that jacket that I got stolen in a Costa Rican airport.
Wow.
It's not stolen. I left it.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's really cool. So as far as the travel insurance, though, the answer is kind of maybe, right?
Yeah. So on those little things, no. I think when it comes to medicine, that's where you're going to look at travel insurance. Yeah. So especially if you're like me and you like adventure travel, like if you're going on a Patagonia trek, your health insurance might not cover the cost of care where's Patagonia? Argentina.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I hope that's right. If not,
South America.
Someone can cut this out.
South America for sure.
Anyway, so if you think that you might be in a situation where you're going to need medical care and it's big like that, definitely buy the insurance in those cases. If you're, maybe you're like at heart attack age, if you're only going to be hanging out in downtown London, you're likely to get good care in the event of a heart attack. If you're going to Botswana, you might want to think about emergency evacuations, right? Yep. So where you're going and what the activities that you're going to be doing will drive whether or not you look at medical, and then your existing coverage, you have to take a look at that. Not all policies are going to cover you when you're overseas.
Yep.
Right?
I will say though, we have a client that called me from Sicily, and they were having a medical issue. Her husband was having a medical issue, and they were trying to figure out how to get to a hospital that they could speak English and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was making phone calls in Rome, trying to find where they can go. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
The American hospital in Rome, they only spoke Italian.
Yeah.
And it was like, what is going on here? I felt like it's really dicey.
It can be. I was a passenger on a scooter that crashed in Mykonos, and we were on a cruise, luckily. But so we showed back up to the cruise port covered in blood and gasoline, and it was like, I'm so grateful that I don't have to go find a Mykonosian hospital right now. We got treated on the boat, a Greek hospital. Yeah. But even like Medicare.
So Medicare, you have to look and make sure that if you're going to go, even if you're not on Medicare yet, your health insurance company will cover you overseas. Sometimes they have limited coverage, and you don't they won't like fly you out, right?
Yeah. So like ours will cover us like an out-of-network hospital, but they won't fly you out of there. You're in that hospital in that country.
Yeah, well, good luck with that if it's not a.
But the thing so policies are different. Medicare covers no one overseas.
Medicare covers nothing. The Medigap plans, the supplemental plans, will cover some, maybe like 25,000 or something to evacuate you. Very little. We always spend the extra to get travel insurance, travel medical.
Yeah,
and it's like $40 a week per person.
It's worth it.
Dirt cheap, and you can they'll spend $100,000 to put you on a jet and fly you out. Yeah. The best place to go that we found is a site called insuremytravel.com. Yeah. They've got access to all the travel and medical policies, and they're good ethical ones, and you can shop there for the right price.
So the other thing that you might get insurance for is cancellation.
Okay,
and
trip cancellation,
a hurricane comes, or some weather, or somebody gets sick or whatever. So I will say for COVID, it's all being written out. If a trip gets canceled for COVID reasons, you're not getting coverage from an insurer. I couldn't find one last time I looked that would write a policy that would cover me for COVID. So just do not do that. I lost money thinking that my policy would, and it didn't. So, but other cancellation, that really comes down to your party and how they show up to things. Yeah. And so, I know people who have like severe anxiety and they will cut a vacation short simply because of their anxiety. In that case, you may want to find a policy that'll just cover you if you cut it short by choice.
Good point.
They exist. They're pricey, but they exist.
Good point. Yeah. It might be worth the money.
Then sometimes find out what your credit card company will do for you. Again, like that cruise. I had a cruise. We'll call them out.
Yeah, go
whatever.
ahead. Yeah.
Crystal Cruises canceled a cruise on us and did not give us our money back. American Express gave us our money back. So it sounds like I love them a lot. I'm not getting paid to advertise them. But it works.
No, but it does work. Yeah. The ones that are user friendly is really good.
Yeah.
We booked a cruise last year, a company cruise to the Mediterranean, and it was in August of this year, just last month, and we had to cancel it because of COVID. And we got, actually Celebrity gave us all of our money back plus 25% to book another one. And the airlines all refunded all of our money. So that worked out really well. But if they're not, it's all carrier specific, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Read those policies, review them with somebody. Yeah. The devil is truly in the details when it comes to travel insurance.
For sure.
Yeah. What else?
So is that it?
I don't see any of the questions in the queue, so we must have done a really good job today.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Well, they're all asleep.
One of the two. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll be back with you in 2 weeks.
We're going to talk about annuities.
Oh.
Everything you never wanted to know about annuities, right?
But it's
the good, the bad, and the very ugly.
Yeah, we're going to dig in.
These are things you should know. If you have annuities, or you thought about buying annuities, or you know people that have annuities.
Everybody has an annuity.
And you need to know what the ins and outs are.
Okay.
When they work, when they don't.
We have a new ebook out. It's called Evidence-Based Investing Insights. If you want to learn more about the science behind the way that we manage investment portfolios here, that's a great primer. It is written to be plain English and for everybody. So I hope that's enjoyable. And then if you want to talk to us at any point, you can go to our website. You could call. You could email. On our website, there's also a tool where you could just schedule a meeting with us. Please take it.
Right on our website. It's down by the podcast. Right. So thank you all for listening, for being here with us. We appreciate it. And remember, you're invested.
And so are we.
Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.